It's Friday night. Say yeah for another edition of Strictly Sports NFL Friday. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer here with you for a very exciting edition of the Strictly Sports NFL Friday. Week 15 already, coming down the home stretch, and oh my goodness, what a way to start it off last night. Los Angeles Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium. It looked like the Chiefs were going to run away with it, but the Chargers came storming back just like they did against the Pittsburgh Steelers a couple of weeks ago. And the Chargers did it again. Another amazing comeback win, 29-28. That was the Tony and Mikey special. And the last 5 games that we have done have all been 5-star classics, chock full of the finest Shakespearean drama you will ever see. We have just been blessed beyond words. And hopefully next week the streak will continue. And we'll see if it does. So what a way to start it off though. Amazing matchup, to say the very least. And well, rest of the week, what you got? That's the question. And we'll find out the answer. Also, very special new feature that's been added to this show here tonight. What's at stake? That's what it's called. It's called What's at Stake. And usually at this time of the year, MF, who's here with us now, would give us the scenarios for certain teams to clinch and whatnot. But you don't have to do that this time, MF. I got that covered. So what's at stake? That's what it's called. So nonetheless, week 15, let's get into the action, the remaining action. And tomorrow, yes, we have some Saturday games. We have not one but 2 Saturday games, both of which will be broadcast over on the NFL Network. And without any further ado, let's get into those games, shall we? We will start it off with our first matchup of the week. The Houston Texans squaring off against the New York Jets from MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands, East Rutherford, New Jersey. 4:30 kickoff on the NFL Network. Interesting announced team. We have Kurt Menefee with Nate Burleson, Steve Mariucci, and Melissa Stark on the sidelines. We have the Houston Texans opening up as 6.5 to 7-point favorites. I can't say I'm surprised by that spread at all, to be quite honest. So, yeah, it's a 6.5 to 7 for Houston. The Jets lead the all-time series 5-2. However, the Houston Texans have won the last 2 meetings in this series, including their last one in 2015, Houston winning 24-17 in Houston. And then the Texans won their last meeting in New York, which was 23-17 back in 2012. So that's the story there. So Houston and the Jets to start it off. And let's see what we have. Even after the Texans fell short against the Colts in Week 14 and failed to continue a 9-game winning streak, it's hard to pick against them this week. Houston's running back struggled against Indianapolis, but the Texans should be able to get back to the success they had during the streak against this 27th ranked run defense, which is allowing an average of 132 rushing yards a game. There is no compelling reason to pick the Jets. They're 0-4 against teams that entered the game with a winning record, the worst mark in the league. They've lost those games by an average of 15 points. Rookie quarterback Sam Darnold won't have his leading rusher Isaiah Crowell and his leading receiver Quincy Enunwa, which means plenty of 3-and-outs against J.J. Watt and company. What's at stake? The Texans can clinch the AFC South with a win and losses by both the Colts and Titans. Short of that, there are 8 scenarios in which the Texans can at least secure a playoff berth. The simplest, a win and losses by either the Dolphins or Ravens. A win by the Jets could drop them out of the top 5 of the 2019 draft order. FPI currently projects them at number 4. Houston, 69.2% favorite. Houston is a big favorite on the road to take a step toward the postseason, projected to win 69% of the time by FPI. a major reason is that the Texans rank second in the NFL in defensive efficiency this season, while the Jets rank second worst in offensive efficiency. Nothing more to say. I got the Houston Texans, and I got them winning in a big way. I'm going to go 31-13, Houston all over the Jets in the Meadowlands. Nothing more to say. Good old MF, Michael Fletcher, come on in. Texans and the Jets kicking off a Saturday doubleheader on the NFL Network. This should be an easy one for Houston after they got their winning streak snapped by injury.
Yeah, normally you would say yes, this is an easy game, but as you can tell, especially nowadays, anything can happen in the NFL. You know, it's not as given, it's not as clear cut. Houston wasn't really supposed to lose to Indy. Indy, you know, even though Indy's been red hot lately, they've been playing great. Houston was the far more superior team, and they literally laid an egg against the Indianapolis Colts. As far as the Jets go, I mean, look, they came back on the Buffalo Bills and they beat them. So, I mean, plus it's at the Meadowlands, it's at MetLife. Kind of an opening there. You don't know. Normally the Jets play better at home than they do on the road. Maybe an upset, but I really doubt it as well. So I think Houston will slam the door here. They'll get a big win, and yeah, they should be able to lock it up and get a playoff spot one way or the other. So Houston wins. Anthony, it's yours.
Keep your mic on, MF. You'll be leading off on our next matchup. By the way, Michael Bullock will be a little bit late joining us. He still has some festivities that he's doing right now, so we'll hopefully have him on, and if we do, we'll catch him up on what he missed and whatnot. So the other half of the Saturday doubleheader on the NFL Network, a rather intriguing matchup, if I'm going to be quite honest. We got the Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Denver Broncos at Broncos Field at Mile High in Denver. Mike Tirico, Kurt Warner, Peter Schrager on the call for that. And we have Denver opening up as 2 to 3 point favorites. Denver leads the all-time series 20-5, including, get this, MF, the Broncos have won the last, let me do the count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 8, I think it's 11. I think I counted 11 here. I think the Broncos have won the last 11 meetings in a row against the Cleveland Browns. Last meeting was 2015 in Cleveland. Denver won 26-23 in overtime. They last met in Denver in 2012. Denver won that 34-12. The Cleveland Browns have not beaten the Denver Broncos since all the way back in 1990. 1990, the last time the Cleveland Browns beat the Denver Broncos, and that was in Denver, by the way, 30-29. So nothing more to say here. So MF, as I look at it, stake here for both of these teams. Cleveland, even given their start to the year, the Browns, they have not yet been eliminated from playoff contention. No. They got to leapfrog through 5 teams if they're going to get in. The Broncos, quote unquote, only have 4. So, hey, Cleveland's still hanging around here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, like you said, it's realistic. There's a shot that they could get in, no doubt about it. It's just how do they play it? How do they play this situation? And plus, on top of that, if you think about it, Denver is coming off an embarrassing performance against the 49ers, and that the 49ers actually won. So, I mean, Cleveland coming off. If you really think about it, their standards are, a lot of people are like, well, Cleveland's been the doormat for so many years. Yeah, all right. They are in last place in their own division. But let me tell you, they've played a lot better than they have in recent years. So kudos to Cleveland. They're definitely on the right path. If you're Denver, you're thinking you can't lose to the Browns. I mean, it's one thing to lose to the Niners, but if you lose to the Browns at home in Mile High in that place, I hate to say this, man, but that hot seat in the coach's position, if it didn't get hot now, it's gonna be scorching if they lose to the Browns on a Saturday night. If they lose to the Browns, I'm gonna call it right here, right now. You're gonna see a coaching change for next season because I think Vance Joseph will be fired, no doubt. I got Denver winning this game, but it's gonna be a little tighter than what the experts have it. 21-17 is my final score. Denver beats Cleveland, but I would not be shocked if Cleveland pulls the upset. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, the key to dealing with Denver is stopping the pass rush of defensive end Bradley Chubb and linebacker Von Miller. They have combined for 25.5 sacks. The Browns' offensive line, though, has given up just 1 sack in the last 3 games, in part because Baker Mayfield is so adept at feeling and avoiding the rush. Mayfield is playing at such a high level that it's hard to go against them. The Broncos have had their share of struggles this season, but they have been a different team at home. This one is really about their mindset and how much vocational fuel they have left in the tank after a crushing loss to the 49ers last weekend. They have wafer-thin playoff hopes, but playing without cornerback Chris Harris Jr. against Mayfield will be an enormous challenge. If Chubb and Miller finish with at least 4 combined sacks in this one, however, things will have gone the Broncos' way. And as I stated a little bit ago, the Browns have not won in Denver since 1990. We already talked about what's at stake. Browns not yet out of playoff contention. They do have 5 teams to leapfrog if they're going to get in. Broncos have, quote-unquote, only 4. Denver, 77.1% favorites. The Browns have been a top 5 offense in terms of efficiency, according to FPI, since changing coaches after Week 8. But they face a tough test this week against the Broncos team that ranks second in opponent total QBR this season, 52.5. So, yes, MF, I'm right there with you. I do have the Denver Broncos winning closely. I'm going to say 27-21. Denver should get by Cleveland. So that's all there is to say on that. So moving on now to the Sunday portion of the schedule. We kick it off with one of the Zonk games of the week. Yes, there will be some Zonk games, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So yeah, what a Zonk game we have here. One of the Zonk games over on the other side. The Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the Atlanta Falcons at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the home of Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta, Georgia. Over on Fox, we have Kenny Albert, Rondé Barber, and Sarah Walsh on the call for that one. And looking at the spread here, Atlanta, believe it or not, Atlanta opening up as a 9.5 to 10.5 point favorite. Arizona leads the all-time series 15-14. Their last meeting was 2 years ago in Atlanta. Falcons rolled 38-19. The Cardinals have not won in Atlanta since back in 1993 at the old Georgia. Actually, I think they were in the Georgia Dome at that point.
What year?
93.
I believe it was their first year. I think it was like their first year at the Georgia Dome. First couple of years, because I know
Super Bowl 28.
They were in the Georgia Dome. Yeah.
It was the Georgia Dome because Super Bowl 28 was January of 94, and so it would obviously coincide with the 93 season. So yes, it would be the Georgia Dome. So the Georgia Dome 93, that's when the Cardinals last won in Atlanta, 27-10. And I believe they were the Phoenix Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken, at that time. So
that is correct.
Yes, Phoenix Cardinals. So, all right. So, all that aside, let's dive into this one. Let me see. Okay. Sunday's matchup pits a bad Cardinals offense against a bad Falcon defense. And even though two of the Cardinals' 3 wins have come on the road, they're still 2-4 away from home. The Cardinals are ranked last in 9 offensive categories, while the Falcons are ranked in the bottom quarter of the league in 11. The best matchup of the game will be Arizona's 4th-ranked passing defense against the Falcons' 4th-ranked passing offense. Not much has gone right for the Falcons during their current 5-game losing streak. However, the league's worst rushing offense, 81.2 yards a game, was able to rush for 107 yards in last week's loss to the Packers. Perhaps the Falcons can build on that performance against the 3-10 Cardinal team that allows almost 140 rushing yards a game. Establishing the run should help Matt Ryan and the Falcons hit on some play-action passes down the field. There is something at stake, believe it or not. What's at stake? The Cardinals are very much in the running for the number 1 overall pick in the 2019 draft. So a win isn't necessarily in their best interests. The Falcons are not eliminated from the playoffs, but, well, that isn't far away. Atlanta, 89% favorite. The Falcons are massive favorites at home, projected to win 89% of the time by FPI. That is the largest favorite Atlanta has been in a game in that data set dating back to the start of the 2008 season. Atlanta Falcons should win this one. Keyword should. Even though MF and I have not really all that much confidence, but considering how awful Arizona is, they seriously cannot lose to Arizona. Or else this is going to be a massively disappointing season, even though it already has been. So, nothing more to say. I'm going to go with Atlanta, 27-14. MF, seriously, they cannot lose to Arizona at home, and if they do,
I mean, anything can happen on any given Sunday, Florio. You should know that.
That is true.
But I will agree that yes, Atlanta should win this game. They're projected to win this game, according to your FPI. But the thing is that that's why they play at the games. And the thing is that Atlanta, from top to bottom, it has a better squad than Arizona, even though Arizona does have the GOAT, one of the GOATs of the wide receiving core, and Larry Fitzgerald, future first ballot Hall of Famer, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. There's really nothing else to add here. Atlanta will win the game. Nothing more to say. Florio, let's move on to the next game.
Very well. And this is a little bit of a better matchup here. We're going to stay on Fox. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers squaring off against the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. This one's going to be over on Fox. And on the call for that one will be the legendary Dick Stockton with Mark Schlereth and Jennifer Hale. Baltimore opening up as 7.5 to 9-point favorites. Series history favors the Baltimore Ravens 3-2. Interesting story here. Tampa Bay won the first 2 meetings. The Ravens have won the last 3. They last met 4 years ago, 2014, in Tampa. Baltimore absolutely pounded Tampa, 48-17. 2010 was the last time they met in Baltimore. Ravens won that 17-10. The only other meeting in Baltimore was 2002. Tampa Bay won that one going away 25-0. So MF, as we start with you on this one, let me look up what's at stake in this one.
No clinching scenarios for either team right now. No.
The Ravens. Ravens trying to hold off 3 other 7-6 teams for the final AFC wildcard spot, but they could also leapfrog the Pittsburgh Steelers into the AFC North lead with a win and a Steelers loss to the Patriots. And at the moment, the Bucs solidly in the race for a top 10 draft pick, sitting at number 8, according to FPI. So after hearing what's at stake, especially for the Ravens, hey, they got a golden opportunity here. They beat Tampa. And if Pittsburgh loses to the Patriots, which is possible, Baltimore could take the AFC North lead with 2 weeks to go.
Well, not only that, guys, but I believe there isn't I don't think there's a complete situation at the end yet. I think Pittsburgh and Baltimore, don't they play each other one more time this season?
No, they already had their 2 meetings.
Oh, they had their 2. Okay.
They split. They split on the road. Baltimore won in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh won in Baltimore.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Then I'm guessing it's divisional. The reason why they're ahead is I believe it's the divisional lead. I think Baltimore has a better divisional record, so that would put them over the top if they do keep going. So, I mean, it's very interesting in this situation in many people's minds, and I know a lot of teams are rooting for this. A lot of the teams are actually, believe it or not, I believe they might be rooting for Baltimore to win the division, because that would open up a spot for a lot of the 7-6 teams, like you were alluding to, Florio. So, Tampa definitely. They've had a very up and down year. I mean, this has been a turbulent year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Started the season out not having Jameis Winston as their quarterback, they had to rely on Ryan Fitzpatrick. He had some good moments, he had some bad moments. Then Winston finally gets his opportunity to start, and he's done okay, I guess. But now Baltimore is having a little problem, because with injuries that Joe Flacco suffered, that's given Lamar Jackson an opportunity to run, and he's done an okay job. Not the greatest job, but he's done okay for himself. All of a sudden, now we're looking at a situation where, well, we just got to wait and see. I guess that's the key word, is we're going to have to wait and see. So whatever the case may be, it's going to be very interesting to watch. Great season, to say the very least. Baltimore should win it. No doubts about it in my mind. So, nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
Michael Bolick has just joined us. So, Bolick, welcome. Let's
long time no see, fellas.
Exactly. Yeah.
Long time no see, guys.
Very special evening this evening. It was a blessing as always, and definitely look forward to doing that again down the road. But anywho, let's get you caught up, Bolick. Only 4 games, not bad. First game of that Saturday doubleheader, the Houston Texans against the New York Jets. Who you got?
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely got the New York Jets. I mean, not the New York Jets, the Houston Texans winning this one. I mean, because basically they're still trying to fight for a first round bye as well. I mean, of course they had their, I think it was their 9-game winning streak coming to an end, and at the hands of the Colts, I do think they're going to bounce back. So I got Houston winning it.
Cleveland Browns against the Denver Broncos in the other Saturday game.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it. I mean, I got the Denver Broncos winning it, but somehow don't be surprised if the Cleveland Browns somehow make a game out of it, because for some, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, Florio, they're fighting for a playoff spot. I mean,
still eligible.
It's hard for me to even fathom that they're actually fighting for a playoff spot.
They need help.
I mean, what would you? Huh?
They need help, man. They need lots of help.
Oh yeah, because to me, Florio, and I'm going to say this, they need to win out the rest of their games and hopefully get a lot of help.
So you got Denver in that one?
Yeah, I got Denver winning this one.
Okay. Arizona Cardinals against the Atlanta Falcons, one of our Zonk games of the week.
What was the game?
Arizona and Atlanta.
Yeah, I got the Atlanta Falcons winning this one.
And the game that MF and I just got into, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I got the Baltimore Ravens winning this one. I mean, they played that Kansas City Chiefs team really hard and could have pulled it out in the end, but it was Kansas City who won out, and I do expect Baltimore to bounce back and win this one.
Yeah, I agree. As we go to me now, because MF led off on that. The Bucs offense was held to just 14 points and shut out in the second half against the Saints last week. The Saints took away their explosive playmaking downfield. It's hard to see them doing more against Don Martindale's defense, a group known for its suffocating pressure up front, especially with the struggles Tampa Bay's offensive line is having and the lack of a Bucs ground game. Plus, even with the improvements seen on defense under Mark Duffner since week 7, the Bucs are still giving up more yardage on the road than any other team in the league. The Ravens have all of the motivation in this game, knowing a win will allow them to keep the number 6 seed in the AFC and possibly move them into first place in the division. The Buccaneers have lost 5 road games in a row, giving up an average of 39.8 points a game. This is set up for Lamar Jackson to have his best game of the season. We already talked about what's at stake. Ravens trying to hold off 3 other 7-6 teams for that final wildcard spot. And they could also leapfrog the Steelers into the division lead with a win and the Steelers lost to New England, which we'll get into later on. And the Bucs, of course, playing, still in the race for a top 10 draft pick. They're currently at number 8 there. Baltimore, 70% favorite. Another week, another important game for the Ravens in terms of their playoff chances. Baltimore has the 3rd largest potential playoff swing of any team this week. The Ravens would have a 59% chance to make it if they win, and a 20% chance if they should get upset. But I don't see that happening. Not in this lifetime here. So I'm going with Baltimore here. I think they should win this one. I think they might give Baltimore some fits early, but I think the Ravens will pull away in the end. So I'll go with Baltimore 27-17. Baltimore over Tampa. So nothing more to say. Let's move on here. Next matchup, which is another one of the Zonk games of the week. Also on Fox, we have the Detroit Lions squaring off against the Buffalo Bills over at New Era Field in Buffalo. This game's on Fox. We got Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, and Megan O'Leary on the call. Buffalo opening up as 1 to 2.5 point favorites. Buffalo leads the all-time series 5-4 with a tie. The one tie came in their very first meeting in 1972. They played to a 21-all tie in Buffalo. Last meeting was 4 years ago in Detroit. Buffalo won 17-14. Buffalo also won in 2010 at home 14-12. So they've won the last 2 meetings in this series. The Lions have only won in Buffalo once, and that was back in 1991. That was a 17-14 overtime win. What a game that was, because they were 2 of the best teams in 91. So there's really nothing more to say here. So Michael Bullock, come on in. We're gonna start it off with you here for the Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills. And what's at stake here? Well, this matchup features 2 teams that FPI projects to capture top 10 picks in the 2019 draft. So Bullock, proceed accordingly.
Yeah, like you said, I think whoever loses this, could still be in the top to get a top 10 pick in the 2019 draft. So, but it's hard to imagine the Bills being the way they are this season, especially after finally getting to the playoffs for the first time in a long, long time. But that just seems like a distant memory now. But it's tough. But to me, I gotta go with. To me, I'm actually gonna go with your Buffalo Bills to win this one. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 21-17 score. So Florio, I give it to you.
Wow, Bullock. Great minds think alike. I have the exact same score and the exact same outcome, but I'll get into why right now. Somehow the Lions are still in contention for a playoff berth. Winning in Buffalo would keep the franchise's postseason hopes alive for at least one more week. Yes, the offense is incredibly beat up, but the defense has improved over the past month, holding 3 of their past 4 opponents under 25 points. it will help that Buffalo has the second worst offense in the league in yards and points scored. Could be enough for the Lions to win their second straight yawn fest. We'll see. However, the Bills are 4-0 this season when they have a positive turnover margin and 0-9 with an even or negative turnover margin. So it's no secret the Bills must protect the ball to beat the Lions. That is an attainable goal for Josh Allen, who will face a Detroit defense that is tied for second fewest interceptions this season. Buffalo is 2-7 against defenses in the top half of the NFL in interceptions, and 2-2 against teams such as the Lions in the bottom half. Buffalo, a 55% favorite. In the 3 games since the Bills' bye week, Josh Allen ranks sixth in the NFL with a 79.7 total QBR. A large portion of that is due to his rushing ability. Allen has added 18.7 expected points on the ground in the past 3 weeks, more than 3 times as many as any other quarterback in that span. Yes, Michael Bullock, I agree. I have my Buffalo Bills winning, and I have the exact same score that you have it. 21-17, Buffalo over Detroit. Nothing more to say. So, MF, your thoughts on Detroit and Buffalo? Another zonk game, I'm afraid.
Kind of a back and forth type game I expect this to be, but yes, I do agree. Once it's all said and done, that Buffalo should win this game. 24-21 is my score. So, Anthony, it's off to you.
Yes, indeed. And we move on now, gentlemen, to the oldest and most legendary rivalry in the history of the National Football League. Meaning for the second time this season, the Green Bay Packers squaring off against the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field in Chicago. This game on Fox. We got Chris Myers, Daryl Moose Johnston, Laura Oakman on the call. And it is Chicago opening up as 5 to 6 point favorites. Green Bay won the very first Sunday night game of week 1 in Lambeau. That crazy game, we all remember it. We thought Aaron Rodgers got hurt. We thought he was going to be done for the season. But he came back in, finished the game, and led the Packers to a win. And with that win, Green Bay adds to their series history lead, which is now 96-93 with 6 ties. Packers have now won 5 in a row against the Bears, including that opening night win. They've owned the Bears in Chicago as of late. Chicago Bears have not beaten the Packers at home since 2010. That was a 20-17 win. But since then, it's been all Green Bay in Chicago, including last year, 23-16 winners there. So let's get down to this one. One of the few good ones of the week here. Let me find this one. As rejuvenated as Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense looked last week after the coaching change, there's one question that seemingly doesn't have a positive answer for them. How in the world are they going to block Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, and the rest of the Bears pass rushers? That's a challenge even with a healthy offensive line. Well, right tackle Brian Bulaga is iffy with a knee injury. Right guard Byron Bell went on the IR last week, and left guard Lane Taylor didn't play last week. Green Bay is too banged up on its offensive line to stop the Bears. Chicago's defense is number 1 in the league in takeaways, 34, interceptions, 25, and points off turnovers, 107. Much of that stems from the pressure of their front 7. Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks who has ever lived, but unless someone blocks Khalil Mack, the Bears are poised to clinch their first playoff berth since 2010. What's at stake? Very simple. The Bears can clinch the NFC North with a victory or a Minnesota Vikings loss to the Miami Dolphins. It's possible that the Green Bay Packers could be eliminated from postseason contention based on a series of other outcomes. Chicago, 62.7% favorite. After an impressive performance against the LA Rams last Sunday night, the Bears now have a defensive efficiency of 79.1 this season on a 0 to 100 scale. Easily the best in the league. Only 3 teams in the data set since 2006 have posted a higher defensive efficiency in a season. The 2006 and 2008 Baltimore Ravens and last year's Jacksonville Jaguars. Chicago Bears win this game. I'm going to go 20-16. Chicago over Green Bay. Nothing more to say on this. MF, I mean, you heard the little scenario there. Green Bay, Chicago, part 2 of the greatest and most epic and legendary rivalry in the history of the NFL.
And this is the moment for Chicago. I mean, it don't get no bigger than this. You know, you might have felt like you had an opportunity to beat Green Bay in the first game of the season, and then Aaron Rodgers became Aaron Rodgers again, and we all know how that ended. Now, for Chicago, it's pretty simple. Just win. You win, you're in the playoffs, but more importantly, you're one step closer to the ultimate goal, winning the NFC North. And let me say, it's been a long time coming for this team. They've been waiting for this moment, and I think they could do it. I think they will do it. The one thing, and Anthony, you alluded to it, the great defense, and Mitchell Trubisky just has to play good. He doesn't have to be spectacular, but he needs to be good enough that they could slam the door and beat Green Bay. They can do it. They got the team. So I got the Bears winning this game, and I think they will get the job done. 28-21. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yes, I mean, what can you say about the Chicago Bears? I mean, what they did on Sunday night to the LA Rams, I mean, holding that powerful Rams offense to 6 points. I mean, that's an A-plus performance as far as I'm concerned when it comes to defense. And so much so, I mean, I don't know if we can agree. I think I got the Bears in the top 5 when it comes to the when we do our power rankings later on, because what they did on Sunday night was a top 5 performance as far as I'm concerned. And I found out, I don't know if you mentioned, Florio, about when it comes to the Bears winning the NFC North. I mean, did you bring it up?
Yeah, I mentioned what's at stake in this one.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the moment the Bears they've been waiting for. I mean, and I think they're going to get the job done here. I'm going to say Chicago wins it 24 to 20 is going to be my final score, and I think the Bears defense will play well enough to hold off the Packers. And like you said about Mitchell Trubisky there, Fletch, he just needs to play good. I mean, he doesn't have to go over the top and play great. He just needs to play good enough, because he knows he has that reliable Bears defense to back him up. So I think they'll get the job done. They'll clinch the NFC North and earn their spot in the playoffs, and be one step closer to where they want to be, well, where they haven't been in a long, long time. Florio, what's yours?
And gentlemen, we now move on to another Zonk game of the week. And matter of fact, it's the Zonk game of the week on our side of the ledger. The Oakland Raiders squaring off against the Cincinnati Bengals at Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. CBS has this one. Andrew Catalan, James Lofton on the call. Bengals opening up as 3-point favorites. Series history favors the Raiders 18-10. However, the Bengals have won the last 2 meetings in this series. 2015 in Oakland, and then the last meeting in Cincinnati, which was 2012. Bengals won that going away 34-10. Raiders have not won in Cincinnati since 1995, back when the Bengals were playing at the old Riverfront Stadium, or Synergy Field, whatever you want to call it. 20-17 was the final that day. So, MF, I believe we start with you here. Obviously, no playoffs at stake for either. It's pretty much with draft chances here. But the Raiders, they've jeopardized their favorite status for the number 1 overall pick after they've won 2 of their last 4. And they probably can't afford another win if they want to get to that number 1 spot. And all you need to know about the Bengals' playoff chances, they trailed the Cleveland Browns in the standings. Oh, MF. Ooh. If that's not hard times for the Bungles, I don't know what is.
And yet, Marvin Lewis still has a job in the National Football League. How ironic is that?
What's up
All
with
right.
that?
Well, here's the thing. Basically, if you're going to keep Marvin Lewis as your coach and your team's not doing that great, maybe management's satisfied for being mediocre. Maybe management's satisfied of being a crap team. Hey, to each his own. That's what I say. But everybody knows how I feel about it. I know Anthony feels about it. I know Mike Bullock feels about it. At the end of the day, I mean, Cincinnati needs to win. But one other thing. Andy Dalton is out for the remainder of the season. He got hurt not too long ago. AJ Green hasn't played much, and we don't know if he's going to be at 100%. On top of that, I mean, where is all the rest of it? Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? I don't know. I'm going to go with Cincinnati because I just don't have any faith in the Raiders, though. But the Raiders have been playing a lot more better lately. And yes, Anthony, they have won a couple of games. But I don't know if they're going to win this one. This is kind of a little more tougher than anything else. But could I see the Raiders win the game? Absolutely. No doubt about it. But I think Cincinnati will finally figure it out and they'll get the win. 17-14. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, that puzzled me. I mean, I still don't know why Marvin Lewis has a job, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I think he should have been fired after last season, but for some reason the ownership wanted to keep him. But I really hope this is the year he gets fired because, I mean, this Bengals team, they were off to a good start, but they've been struggling down the stretch. But I do see them getting a win here. I no faith in the Raiders. Yes, I mean, they've been playing better as of late. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders do win this game, but Cincinnati wins it. 20-17 is my final score. So, Florio, I give it to you.
Yeah. As tempting as it is to pick the Raiders over a bad Bengals team here, you have to take into account frigid Cincinnati in December. But perhaps more importantly, the interior of the Raiders' offensive line is so banged up that not even John Gruden knows who will start at both guard spots. Surely Geno Atkins is salivating. Still, Raiders defensive coordinator Paul Guenther knows Cincinnati intimately, having coached there the previous 13 seasons, as does backup quarterback A.J. McCarron. There is no real reason to pick the Bengals considering they have lost 5 straight games and haven't looked like the same team since the bye. However, they did put on one of their best defensive performances in a long time last week. The Raiders' offense is one of the worst the Bengals have faced all year, and their defense isn't exactly firing on all cylinders. If the Bengals can sustain the momentum from last week, this is certainly a winnable game. Cincinnati, 68% favorites. Both of these teams may be out of the hunt for the playoffs, but we could potentially see some offensive fireworks for the fantasy playoffs. The Raiders rank last, and the Bengals rank 4th worst in defensive efficiency this season. So I agree with you guys. I got the Cincinnati Bengals winning this one as well. It's not the most confident. This is a very reluctant pick, but I'm going to go with Cincinnati nonetheless. 24-21. Go with Cincinnati in that one. All right, gentlemen. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of getting sick and tired of these zonk games. I really want to get into a more meaningful game, and this next one, this is a very meaningful game here. One of the games of the week right here. The Dallas Cowboys squaring off against the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis over on Fox. Kevin Burkhardt, Charles Davis, Pam Oliver on the call. The Colts favored by 3 points to open up. Dallas, however, leads the all-time series 10-5, including the last 2 meetings in a row. They last met 4 years ago in Dallas. Cowboys all day, 42-7. 2010 was the last time they met in Indianapolis. The Cowboys won that one in a wild one, 38-35 in overtime. Colts' last win at home against the Cowboys was 2002 at the old RCA Dome. That was a 20-3 final. So there's really nothing left to say here. I believe it's Michael Bullock who gets the lead off on this one. So Bullock, what's at stake? I'll tell you what's at stake as soon as I find it. Hang on. All right, what's at stake? Very simple, guys. The Cowboys can clinch the NFC East with a win or losses by the Eagles and Redskins. The Colts need a victory to remain in position to pounce if either the Ravens or Steelers collapse over the final 3 games, an event that would open up the second AFC wildcard spot. So Michael Bullock, Dallas, Indianapolis, one of the games of the week. And we're going to get this game on our local affiliate, Fox Providence. So we're going to get to see this up close and personal. So huge game for both teams. Very tough. I got to say, this is the toughest game of the week to call right here. This is very tough.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially with the way both teams are playing right now. I mean, what can you say about the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, with a 3-5 start, I mean, many people were ready to write this team off, and you know what would have happened, Florio, if it was going to be another hard times year for the Cowboys.
Yeah, you can hear Derek Ferreira now. Fire Jason Garrett. Fire Jason Garrett.
Yeah, and you want to know who would be enjoying this a whole lot more?
Who?
Oh, a certain guy on a certain show called First Take who hates the Dallas Cowboys. Well, not just the Dallas Cowboys, but their fan base.
Oh, Shannon Sharp.
No. This is First Take we're talking about.
Oh,
you know
Stephen A.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith.
But you are right about the Shannon Sharp thing. Shannon does not like him at all either.
Well, yeah, I did hear about that too. So, yeah, getting back to this, I mean, but I'll tell you what, if they win this one, I think both Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp are going to have to eat a lot of crow come Monday. But with the way they are, they probably won't. But yeah, I mean, I think the difference has been when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys turnaround. Of course, acquiring wide receiver Amari Cooper and promoting Mark Colombo to offensive line coach. And since then, they have won 5 of 6 and 5 in a row up to this point. And yeah, I mean, Ezekiel Elliott has been playing very well in the running game, and Amari Cooper's been playing well. I mean, in the 6 games he's been with the Cowboys, he's caught 40 passes, and he's going to be going up against a defense that has given up 242 passing yards a game. So who knows? I mean, could be another day for Dak Prescott. But the thing is, the Cowboys, maybe without their standout right guard, Zach Martin, who aggravated an MCL injury during last week's victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. So, and of course, that Cowboys defense is going to have to deal with not just Andrew Luck, but T.Y. Hilton. So, this is going to be a tough one for me to call, but I mean, both teams have been playing very well. But to me, at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to win this one. I'm going to go third. I'm going to go 28-24, Dallas over Indy. I mean, this is a reluctant pick for me, but I would not be surprised if the Indianapolis Colts win this one. So, like I said, Dallas wins, but it is a reluctant one. Flory, what's yours?
The Cowboys will have to affect Andrew Luck. In his past 9 games, he has been sacked just 7 times. For comparison, Dak Prescott has been sacked 34 times in the same span. The Cowboys' pass rush, led by DeMarcus Lawrence, has recorded at least 1 sack in every game this season and has put up 12 in the 5-game winning streak. Colts have won 6 of their last 7, but the lone loss came when Luck was sacked 3 times by Jacksonville 2 weeks ago. The Colts are facing a team on a significant winning streak for the second straight week. They ended Houston's 9-game winning streak last week. Now they're going up against a Dallas team that has won 5 in a row. The Cowboys bring the NFL's 4th-ranked defense to Indianapolis to face the league's 8th-best offense. The Colts have won 6 of their past 7 games, with 3 of those victories coming against teams whose defense was ranked in the top 10 at the time. It wouldn't be surprising if this game goes back and forth before quarters. Talked about what's at stake. Cowboys can clinch the NFC East with a win or losses by the Eagles and the Redskins. And for the Colts, they need a win to remain in contention, especially if the Ravens or Steelers collapse over their final 3, which would open up that second wild card spot in the AFC. Indianapolis, however, is opening up as a 60.1% favorite. During the Cowboys' 5-game winning streak, they ranked 7th in offensive efficiency, 68.8, and 4th in defensive efficiency, 63.4, according to the FBI. The Colts also have been good defensively in that span, ranking 8th in defensive efficiency, 59.7, and 1st in opponent total QBR at 41.4. High-scoring game this will be. I think this has the potential to be a 5-star classic. We had 3 of them last week. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting another bunch of 5 stars this week. And hey, last night, we saw a 5-star last night. That's for damn sure. So get ready for another one. High scoring shootout. But I'm gonna agree with Bullock here. I think the Dallas Cowboys will pull it out. I would not be surprised if Indianapolis, however, wins this one. I wouldn't. But I gotta go with Dallas here. 34-30. I like that score. I'm gonna go with that as well. 34-30. Dallas over Indy. Number 3 game of the week. It's as simple as that. It's the number 3 game of the week. It's Fox's game of the week as far as I'm concerned. So nothing more to say. MF, you heard the scenarios for both teams. Top 3 game of the week. Dallas and Indy. This game's going to be hella fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, this is going to be a good matchup. Great game. Dallas, I mean, what a season they've had. They turned it around. Now they look like a legitimate threat. They could win the NFC East with this victory here, and I think they're going to get it. I truly believe they will get the job done. They will win the division. I got them winning this game on Sunday, too. So give me the Cowboys 31-27. Anthony, on to the next one.
And back to reality, which is yet another meh game of the week. And I overlooked this one. No, we're still in the correct order. But what I mean by overlook is I thought this was going to be a Fox game. Apparently, it's going to be on CBS. So it's technically on our side of the ledger. Oh, boy, did we get a good one here. Yeah, right. The Washington Redskins against the Jacksonville Jaguars on our side of the ledger. Jesus. Don't like that at all, honestly. But nonetheless, it is the Redskins and the Jags over at Everbank Field in Jacksonville, TIAA Cref Field now. I think that's what they're calling it now. So CBS will indeed have it. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, Steve Tasker. And Jacksonville is actually opening up as a 7.5 to 9-point favorite. Color me surprised. Washington, though, leads the all-time series 5-1. Their last meeting was 2014 in Washington. It was all Redskins, 41-10. They last met in Jacksonville in 2010. Redskins won 2017 in overtime. And 2002 was the only time the Jaguars ever beat the Redskins. That was at home, 26-7. So, nothing more to say here. I have to start this one off. So, yeah. The Redskins could easily win this game without Josh Johnson at quarterback. But this isn't about Johnson. It's about an offense that is starting 2 backup guards. The line constantly misses assignments in the running game, partly because players are having to switch spots often. Washington doesn't have Jordan Reed and might not have Josh Doxson. Johnson played well in relief last week. His legs provide a positive dimension, but the Redskins would prefer the running game to click. It hasn't been lately. That's why the defense has been on the field more than any other team the past 3 weeks. The Skins are also -5 in turnover differential the past 3 games. The Jaguars are facing a severely undermanned Redskins team that will start a quarterback who, until last week, hadn't thrown an NFL pass in 7 years. Jaguars should win the game with little trouble, but there's one stat that should make everyone pause. 1 offensive touchdown in the past 2 weeks. That's all Cody Kessler has managed since taking over for Blake Bortles. He has been efficient and hasn't turned the ball over, but the Jaguars have just 4 plays of 18 yards or longer and have made just 4 red zone trips in the 2 games. Plus, there's the matter of whether the defense will show up after last week's embarrassing performance against Tennessee. Even with those issues, the Jaguars should be able to eke out a victory over a team that's falling apart. What's at stake? The Jaguars are eliminated from the postseason and once again fighting for a top 5 draft pick. The Redskins, meanwhile, are as close to a top 10 pick. FPI projects them at number 13 as they are to a playoff spot. Jacksonville, 68.1% favorite. Johnson posted a 68.9 total QBR in relief of Mark Sanchez last week, the highest total QBR by a Redskin quarterback since week 3. Alex Smith, 85.4. The Jaguars' backup plan at QB has not gone quite as smoothly. In his 2 starts since taking over for Bortles, Cody Kessler has posted a 28.6 total QBR. Bortles has a 49.5 total QBR this season. I can make the argument that this might be the Zonk game of the week here and not the Raiders and the Bengals, although both of them are equally bad. But I think this is going to be one of those Michael Fletcher defensive battles. And I'm going to make MF a very happy man here when I say this. I'm going to go with Jacksonville to win. 7-6. Defensive battle, MF. I feel bad for the wonderful people of Washington and Jacksonville who have to sit through this monstrosity. Ooh, this is going to
this is gonna be a bad game, no doubt about it. But I think there'll be a little bit of scoring. I think 7-6 is a little generous, Anthony. But I do believe the final score is gonna be like 14-10. That's the best way to do it. That's the best way to talk about the game more than anything else. So 14-10. That's at least my feeling of it, and that's it. So 14-10. Washington, Jacksonville wins, and Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I feel bad for those that are gonna have to sit through this this nonsense. So yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm gonna go 14-10 in this one. So nothing more to say. I'm just gonna give it to you, Florio.
And MF gets to lead off on the next one, and oh boy, here we go. Another one. Now we're back into the games of the week grouping here. I consider this the number 3 game on our side of the ledger. What a game we got here. The Miami Dolphins squaring off against the Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis over on CBS. We're going to have this game as well on our affiliate, WPRI 12. Iron Eagle, Dan Fouts, Evan Washburn on the call. Vikings opening up as 7.5 to 9-point favorites. Series history between these two, it favors, give me a moment here, favors the Miami Dolphins 7-4. Dolphins have won the last 3 meetings in this series, including 4 years ago in Miami, 2014. Dolphins won a shootout 37-35. Their last meeting in Minnesota was 2010. Dolphins won that as well, 14-10. Vikings' last home win over the Dolphins was 2002 in the old Metrodome. 20-17 was the final there. What's at stake? Well, very simple when it comes to this particular matchup. The Vikings clinging to the final spot in the NFC wildcard race, hoping that an easier remaining schedule can allow them to limp into the postseason. The Dolphins, however, need a win to stay within striking distance of the AFC race. But there's nothing really more to say on this. MF is right on cue. Minnesota, they're faltering. But when it comes to last week, no team, well, for at least last week. Who was the toast of the league last week? I can't believe I'm saying this. It's MF's Miami Dolphins. Why do you ask? Oh, not much. They just pulled a Cal Stanford 1982 type finish to beat the Patriots last week. We just needed the damn band on the field. That would have been made it even more. Come on now. I mean, that's all we needed. We just needed the band on the field. That's all we needed. And then we would have been perfect. But we saw it. Everybody's been talking about it for the last week, driving Michael Bullock and Derek Ferreira to the point of the infamous I can't take it face. And of course, Derek Ferreira.
Well, mostly Derek Ferreira.
Derek Ferreira going on an EDP 445 rant. And that's all there is to say on that. Why? You know the story. 33-28 New England, 4 seconds to go. Dolphins lateral it. Ryan Tannehill finds the receiver, and then he laterals it, and then another lateral to Kenyon Drake. And then Kenyon Drake found the opening. Gronk commits a Morocco mode. Whoopsie. And then it allows Kenyon Drake to score a touchdown to win the game for the Miami Dolphins, 34-33. 5-star classic, Shakespearean drama. In the 40-50 year history of of the Patriot-Dolphin rivalry, hands down the greatest Patriot-Dolphin game ever. That's all there is to say on that. And good old MF Michael Fletcher. Playoff implications aside, that epic finish. Maybe the greatest finish to a regular season game we'll ever see. I mean, you, Eric Carrier, the rest of your Dolphin family, I know that was very, without question the most emotional win in Dolphin franchise history.
It's not only the most emotional win, it was probably the biggest win in Dolphin franchise history. We literally flipped the script on the New England Patriots, and on top of that, we went back a long way. I mean, you got to go back to like 1982 for the hook and ladder to come into play again. I mean, if you're a Miami Dolphin fan, you remember back in the Orange Bowl, that playoff game against the then San Diego Chargers, and Miami was down 24-0 after one quarter, fell behind 24-0 in one quarter, came back to tie the game on a hook and ladder by the craziest thing. And unfortunately, Miami did end up losing the game in overtime, and thus that ended their season. But I mean, you know what? It's so crazy with everything that happened in that play. They were going toe-to-toe with the Patriots. Offensively, they were absolutely phenomenal. The best offensive performance I've ever seen from Miami this year. No doubts in my mind. Defensively, liability. Big problems. They did get some defensive stops towards the end, but I mean, for most of the game, they were getting gassed. Brady and company were having their way with the Dolphins, and that was an absolute phenomenal performance by them. No doubt about it. They easily could have won that game. But, you know, they did leave some opportunities on the board. We'll get into the Patriots in a little bit. And then, yeah, Anthony, we talked about it. Everybody's been talking about it. I mean, everybody's trying to get my reaction and my thoughts about it for about a week. And I've been saying the same thing. I was speechless. I could not believe that happened. I think Deion Sanders said it best. Those kind of plays never work. It never happens. You know, it went from Ryan Tannehill. He threw the ball, found Kenny Stills at the 50, laterals to Levante Parker, and then Parker gives it to Kenyon Drake. Drake cuts down right around the 40, cuts back up field, 35-30, you know, gets it to the 20, Gronk out of position, and some way, somehow was able to skirt between the sideline and the out of bounds area, was able to reach that end zone, and then chucks the football into the crowd. And the funniest thing about that was, and the funniest thing about that, and this is actually a special thing that I'll let you guys know, the football that got thrown into the crowd was actually caught by a New England Patriot fan initially. But, after some negotiations, a Dolphin fan was able to get the football back after spending $500 on that game-winning football. And now Kenyon Drake is asking for the football back, willing to give him the cleats, his gloves, a jersey, tickets to a future Miami Dolphin game. We just want the football back. We want that ball back because that's going into the Hall of Fame. That's going into the Dolphins' treasure trove. If it's one of the biggest moments in Dolphin history. Then everybody was saying, where do we rank this all time? Is this the greatest moment in Miami Dolphin history? I mean, God. I mean, you have the fake spike Dan Marino did. I think it was like in 1992. Where he burns the New York Jets at the Meadowlands, or Giant Stadium back in the day. And then you got, there's so many great moments in Dolphin history. This has to be the greatest moment ever. But after a big emotional win like that, normally you're afraid of a letdown. You're going on the road in Minnesota, and Minnesota's reeling right now. They got stomped by the Seattle Seahawks 21-7. Their offense was so bad, they fired their offensive coordinator. So now you got a new look offensive coordinator. That means a brand new offense. Miami is really going to be sitting ducks here in this situation because of the fact that we don't know what to expect from the Vikings. We don't know what we're going to get from them. Are we going to see a lot of Cook and Latavius Murray? Maybe. They could kill us with Adam Thielen or with Stephon Diggs. Even though I don't believe that Kirk Cousins is, an elite quarterback, and I think Minnesota is starting to regret giving them that $84 million in guaranteed money now. So all of a sudden, you start seeing this kind of balancing act. Then you got a defense it's good but not great. And with the Dolphins, look, I'm going to say this also, and this needs to be addressed. The way that they were running the offense, that was not an Adam Gates style game plan. Something tells me that our offensive coordinator, Daryl Gardner, was probably calling the plays. Now, if he was, thank God he was, because look at the offense. Look at how Tannehill looked. Look at how the running game looked. The offensive line looked great. Well, not perfect. I mean, Tannehill got rocked a few times, and he did suffer an ankle injury in the game against the Patriots. So he's not at 100%. This is the perfect storm for the Vikings to turn things around and win the game on Sunday, because you're not going to have Xavier Howard, who's their best defensive attacker, and we saw how bad Miami's defense looked without him on the field. They got ransacked against the Patriots. So I think Miami will unfortunately lose this game. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight. But I just think Minnesota is going to be a little more peeved. And plus, with the unpredictability of their offense, that's going to give a major advantage to them. They should win this game. So the Vikings win it. My final score is 24-17. Obviously, scenarios breaks down, and a lot of the guys are saying Miami has to win out to get it. Not necessarily. we're going to need some help along the way. Obviously, it would be great to see Indy lose and Baltimore loses, just in case if Miami does fall, that it actually will not hurt us in the grand scheme of things in the wild card race. So if Miami should lose, then that's where we got to hope that Baltimore gets tripped up and Indy basically takes the dive against Dallas, which it's very possible. So we'll wait and see what happens. But I got Minnesota winning. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, people are going to be wondering, can the Dolphins carry any kind of momentum from that miraculous win over the Patriots last week? I mean, who knows? I mean, it could be a letdown, but we'll just have to wait and see. But Minnesota's going through some hard times, obviously, with now that their offensive coordinator was fired, and like you said, now Kirk Cousins and the rest of that offense is going to have to learn a new offense from the new offensive coordinator. And I mean, basically and of course, defensively, they really, of course, have to step up. And I mean, I do expect Minnesota to bounce back and win, but I would not be surprised if Miami somehow pulls it out. So, so basically, I got the Minnesota Vikings winning this one. So, Florio, it is yours.
Oh, man. Big one. Two playoff contenders heading in opposite directions. Minnesota, on the heels of losing 2 straight, seemed to be in offensive disarray after firing its offensive coordinator, while Miami is riding the high of the Miami Miracle in a 2-game win streak after shaving its offensive running backs. Adam Gase's Dolphins have a 76.9 win percentage, 20-6 in one-score games since 2016. And who knows, can they keep the magic going with a big upset over Minnesota thanks to the NFL's third-best takeaway defense? And maybe some big days from Frank Gore and Kenyon Drake. The Dolphins are terrible on the road, however, having lost 5 straight games away from Miami by 16.4 points on average. The Vikings defense is lights out at US Bank Stadium, ranking first in yards per game and holding opponents to a league low 29.7% conversion rate on third down. The Minnesota offense won't look all that much different with interim offensive coordinator Kevin Stefanski, but the shakeup within the coaching staff should give a high sense of urgency. Plus, the Vikings could be the healthiest they've been in weeks, with the expectation that cornerback Trey Waynes will play. We already talked about what's at stake. Minnesota clinging to that final NFC spot, while Miami needs a win to stay within striking distance in the AFC. Sorry to say this, MF. Minnesota's a huge favorite. They're 82.5% favorites. Vikings have the second biggest potential swing in playoff chances this week with a 77% chance to make it if they win and a 36% chance if they lose. The Dolphins don't have quite as big of a swing, but it is still an important game for them. With a win, Miami would have a 27% shot at the playoffs, but with a loss, that goes all the way down to 9%. So I got the Minnesota winning as well. I'm going to say my final score in this one, 23-10. Minnesota over Miami, killing the Dolphins' momentum off that unbelievable finish, a finish that will be talked about for many, many, many years to come, without a doubt. So, final 1 o'clock game here, guys. We got the Tennessee Titans squaring off against the New York Giants, MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands. This one will be over on CBS. We have Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Bruce Arians, Melanie Collins on the call, and the spread favors it favors the Tennessee Titans only by 1. They're 1-point favorites with 1 spread, calling this a pick'em game, believe it or not. Giants lead the all-time series 6-5. Their last meeting 4 years ago in Nashville, Giants won going away 36-7. Last meeting in New York was 2010. Titans won that one going away 29-10. Giants have not beaten the Titans at home since all the way back in 1991 at the old Giants Stadium in the Meadowlands, and back when the Tennessee Titans were known as the Houston Oilers. So that's how long it's been, 91. So I believe it is Michael Bullock who starts it off. So Bullock, what's at stake? Like the Colts and the Dolphins, the Titans hoping to be in position to jump into a wild card spot if the Ravens or Steelers falter. Giants' run of 3 wins in their past 4 games has dropped them to number 8 in draft position projection. Another win or two could cost them a top 10 pick. So Bullock, obviously nothing at stake for the Giants. But Tennessee, though, if they want to stay in contention, they got to win this one. So I think they can. What about you?
Yeah, I think they can too. I mean, to me, like you said, like if the Titans are going to stay for that final wild card spot, they need to basically, they need to win out and definitely get a lot of help if they want to be in the playoffs for a second straight year. And like you said, the Giants, they have nothing to play for except pride because, and the thing is, they've been playing better as of late too, and but I just think Tennessee's the much better team. Of course, although they're, of course, the Titans are going to be without their tight ends. Of course, we already know about Delaney Walker, done for the season with a broken fibula. And now they're Jono Smith is done for the season with an MCL, but there's one thing they can rely on, and that's Derrick Henry. After his over 200-yard performance, and yeah, so I expect Marcus Mariota to also play well and take care of the football. So to me, I got the Tennessee Titans winning this one. I'm gonna say 27-20 is gonna be my final score. So Florio, it is yours.
Titans found the other half of the pack and play formula that is needed to win on the road late in the season when Derrick Henry exploded for 238 yards against the Jags. The Giants are allowing 121.8 rushing yards a game, so expect Henry to pick up where he left off. Tennessee's defense is stifling opposing offenses, allowing 19.5 points a game to complete the formula. The Titans are a dangerous team when they're balanced on offense. It's going to take a monster effort to contain Saquon Barkley, but the Titans need this game to stay in playoff contention, and they should deliver on the road. These next 3 weeks against 3 playoff contenders will be the true test of how far the Giants have come this season. The Titans have allowed the 4th fewest points in the NFL. Can the Giants do enough on an ugly December day against Tennessee? Not quite. The Giants have averaged 21 points a game at home this season. Talked about what's at stake, draft positioning for the Giants. Barely playoff position for Tennessee. Trying to, they're in the thick of that race. You heard the scenario I just dropped a bit ago, and I know MF's going to have a thought on that in a moment. Giants are 58.5% favorites. The Giants have been particularly good over the past 4 games, ranking 7th in offensive efficiency and 2nd in defensive efficiency in that span, according to FPI, and have allowed the lowest opponent total QBR at 35.3. Nonetheless, I got the Tennessee Titans winning this one. Close game. I'll go 23-21. Tennessee barely over the Giants. Nothing more to say. So MF, draft positioning for the Giants. But Tennessee, though, they're in the thick of what we call that log jam, that top-heavy log jam in the AFC wildcard picture.
Yes, no doubt about it. Totally agree with that. It has been a big log jam to say the very least. And at the end of the day, I do believe that this will happen. To me, honestly, I believe that it will, and I think it will be Tennessee winning the game. So I got Tennessee winning. Nothing more to say. Anthony, is back to you.
All right. Few games left here. We have one 4:05 game. We only have 2 late afternoon games. The big one, we're moments away, but we have one nasty piece of business to get out of the way. From what I see on our list here, this, I do believe, will be our last Zonk game of the week. Thank God. We've had way too many of them on this show tonight. The Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers at Levi's Stadium in San Francisco. 4:05 on Fox. Tom Brenneman, Chris Spielman, Shannon Spake will be there for that. Seattle opening up as 3.5 to 4-point favorites. I do believe they've already had their first meeting, which I believe was in Seattle, and I think the Seahawks blew them away. So Seattle now leads 24-15 in the all-time series. They've owned the Niners since that epic NFC Championship game a number of years ago. Including that, it's now 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I believe it's now 10 in a row for the Seahawks over the Niners. The Niners have not beaten Seattle since 2013, and that was in San Francisco. So nothing more to say here. And I believe I have to start this one off. Oh, boy. All right. Let's see. Okay. You can bet that Nick Mullins has the Seahawks' attention after throwing for 414 yards against them 2 weeks ago, the most Seattle has allowed to any quarterback this season. The Seahawks are a bit banged up coming off their Monday night win over Minnesota, and this game will be played in Santa Clara, so the rematch could be closer than Seattle's 27-point margin of victory at CenturyLink Field. But letdowns have never been a problem under Pete Carroll. Seattle won the last meeting largely because the Niners turned it over 3 times and forced 0 takeaways. That has been San Francisco's biggest issue all season, as it has forced a league low 5 takeaways, with the Seahawks coming off a short week and the 49ers off one of their better performances. This should be close, but the Niners' inability to force Seattle mistakes will allow the Seahawks their 10th straight victory against the Niners. Seahawks can clinch a wildcard spot with a victory. A 49er victory could jeopardize their chance at the number 1 overall pick in the draft. The Cardinals and Raiders, both 3-10, are their top challengers. Seattle, 65.8% favorite. Seahawks are in great shape for the postseason and would still have a 99% chance to get in even with a loss, according to FPI. In another department, the Niners would have a 47% chance at the top draft pick with a loss and just a 4% chance with a win. So I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. Closer than expected, but I will say 27-20. Seattle should escape San Francisco with yet another win, continuing their dominance over the Niners. So nothing more to say, MF. It's 10 overall, dating back to that epic NFC Championship game. Do I hear 11?
I say yes. I think Seattle will win the game. They looked really good against Minnesota on Monday night, and I think they're going to keep that hot hand going. So, yeah, give me the Seattle Seahawks to win the game. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I got the Seattle Seahawks winning this one as well. So there's really nothing more to say. Let's just move right along, Florio.
You guys ready? It's the big one. When the schedule came out, we thought for sure this was going to be the game of the week. But then last night, the stars did not align. And this is not the game of the week. It's only the number 2 game of the week. The game of the week was last night with the LA Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. What a game that turned out to be. But you know these two are going to be right up. They're going to be ready and raring to go to give us another instant classic. Are you ready? 4:25, CBS, nothing left to say. The New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers, Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson on the call. New England opening up as 2.5 to 3-point favorites. Series history favors the Pittsburgh Steelers 14-12. The Patriots, however, have won the last 5 meetings in a row, including a playoff game. Their last meeting 1 year ago the game of the year 1 year ago. New England winning 27-24. One of the greatest regular season games in history. MF and I had the honor of calling it, and it was a game we'll never forget. No doubt about it. Steelers have not beaten the Patriots since 2011. That was a 25-17 final. What's at stake? A lot. Patriots can clinch a playoff spot with a win and a Titans loss to the Giants. To secure the AFC East yet again, the Patriots need a win and a loss by the Miami Dolphins to the Minnesota Vikings. The Pittsburgh Steelers cannot clinch anything this week, but they would fall out of the AFC North lead with a loss and a Raven victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there's really nothing more to say. It's good old MF Michael Fletcher starting off on this one, only fitting. MF, over the last 25 or so years, simple question. How many of these games have we done, regular and playoffs?
Oh, man, too many to count. Too many to count.
Right? So,
yep.
And it's hard to believe. When the schedule came out, you and I were thinking, oh, yeah, we're going to be there for this one. Not after last night, buddy. Oh, no. Not after last night. It's unbelievable that this is not the game of the week. It's only number 2. But nonetheless, Patriots, Steelers, let's go about it as if we were calling it. Hello, friends. Do that Phil Simms thing I like, even though we're not doing it.
Well, it's going to be a great matchup, no doubt about it. It's the highly anticipated showdown. It's the one that everybody's waiting for. There's really nothing else to add to the drama. You basically led it. You talked about it. This is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to be played out. It's going to be a great battle. It's going to be a great fight. We all know what this game's going to be about. For the Steelers, an embarrassing loss to the Raiders a week ago. You talked about Chris Boswell making the mistake, slipping on the field. We all know the Patriot and what happened to them against the Miami Dolphins. We don't even need to rehash that. Obviously, for the New England sake, fans, they don't want to relive that because they're still getting pounded to this day about what happened to them against Miami. And then as far as Pittsburgh goes, Steeler fans wants to forget about it too because of what happened to them as well. So nothing more to say. It is what it is, and sure enough. I think the Patriots will win it. I think they'll get the job done. So, yeah, nothing more to say, Anthony. I got the Patriots winning this game. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, both teams are definitely coming off of they're coming off tough tough losses here. I mean, of course, we already know about New England, but of course, the Steelers coming off of a tough loss to the excuse me, to the Oakland Raiders here. So, yeah, I mean, a lot at stake. I mean, especially after the outcome of last night with the Chiefs. So the number 1 seed is definitely up for grabs still. I mean, New England, they just need to win. They just need to do their job offensively and defensively, and they certainly need to do a better job on the special team side. So I got New England winning this one. I'm going to say 30-23 is going to be my final score. So nothing more to say. Florio, I give it to you.
Oh, yep. Okay. Here we go, guys. This is a pride game for the Patriots. After the embarrassing way they lost on the final play against the Dolphins, Bill Belichick said the team needs to play better situational football, and it starts with him. While the past is no guarantee for how things will unfold, the Patriots have been a good investor in quote-unquote pride games in recent years. This week, players have carried themselves with a noticeable edge. this might be the last time Ben Roethlisberger gets the Patriots at home. He'll throw for big yardage in a game the Steelers must have. But the defense is struggling to close games. The kicking situation is a mess. And James Conner could miss another week, placing a spotlight on a running game that averaged 2.1 yards a carry in Oakland. Tom Brady has 7 wins, 23 touchdown passes, and only 1 interception against Pittsburgh since 2006. The edge clearly belongs to the defending AFC champs. We talked about what's at stake. You know the situation. A win and a Titan loss. New England back in the playoffs. To win the division, they need to win, and they need Miami, and they also need Miami to lose to Minnesota. Pittsburgh is, however, a slight favorite according to FPI. They're 59.7% favorites. The Steelers have the largest. Let me tell you, the Steelers, gentlemen, you got to listen to this. They have the largest potential swing in chances to win their division and make the playoffs of any team this week. Steelers would have an 89% chance to make the playoffs, 84% chance to win the division with a win. With a loss, only a 48% chance to make the playoffs and a 43% chance to win the division. But nonetheless, I agree with you guys. I got the New England Patriots winning this one as well. 31-24, New England over Pittsburgh. I expect another 5-star Shakespearean drama classic, as only these two can give us. So, nothing more to say. Let's move on to Sunday Night Football on NBC. What a matchup we have here. The Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl champions, squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles. On NBC, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya on the call. Rams, huge favorites this week. Rams are opening up as 12.5 to 14-point favorites against Philadelphia, if you can believe that. Philadelphia leads the all-time series 20-17 with a tie. They met last year in LA, and what a battle it was. It was one of the games of the year. Philadelphia won that one 43-35. Of course, you all remember that was the game that Carson Wentz got hurt. And then Nick Foles took over, and we know the rest of the story. Philadelphia, including that win last year, Philadelphia has now won 5 in a row against the Rams. Rams haven't beaten the Eagles since they were the St. Louis Rams in St. Louis in 2004. The Rams have not beaten the Eagles in LA since all the way back in 1977, a 20-0 beatdown. So that's the story here. So I believe it's Michael Bullock who starts this one off. So Bullock, once again, no Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is out with a back injury. It's Nick Foles. But still, the Rams are huge favorites, though. Biggest favorites of the week. They're 12.5 to 14-point favorites. So Bullock, what do you think about this latest version of Eagles Rams? Last year was a 5-star. I don't know about this year. Bullock, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Eagles and Rams, Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, I mean, the Rams, I mean, they're pretty disappointed after that abysmal performance that we saw on Sunday night against the Chicago Bears, and that Rams offense is going to want to play better. I mean, especially Jared Goff. I mean, he threw 4 interceptions. That's a game he definitely wants to put in the back burner. And what he has to do is basically take care of the football and don't make any mistakes. And, of course, rely on your receiving core like Brandon Cooks and, of course, the running game with Todd Gurley. And, and the Eagles, I mean, we don't know who they're going to be starting right now. It looks like it's going to be Nick Foles, but either way, I got the LA Rams winning this one. I'm going to say 34-14. So, Flory, what's yours?
Yeah. Let me see. Nick Foles will be under center, in place of Carson Wentz with a back injury, and that's stirring up some memories of an improbable Foles-led run of a year ago. But this is a different Eagles team, one that has 12 players on injured reserve and sits in a vulnerable position at 6-7. Reality will set in against a top-tier Rams team stinging from a loss to the Bears. The Rams haven't lost 2 in a row under second-year coach Sean McVay, so you can bet after a drubbing in Chicago that they'll bounce back. The Eagles' defense is ranked 25th in yards allowed per game at 384. That's a nice matchup for Jared Goff, who needs to rebound after struggling in back-to-back weeks, and a Ram team that is looking to secure a first-round bye in the playoffs. The NFC West champion Rams can clinch a first-round bye with a victory and a Bears loss. They need help from the Saints in order to secure NFC home field advantage. The Eagles are among 3 NFC teams with 6-7 records who are not yet out of contention for a wildcard spot. Rams are 78.3% favorites. Eagles are clinging to their playoff life. FPI gives the Eagles just an 18% chance to win without Wentz, and a loss would give Philadelphia, get this, gentlemen, only a 5% chance to make the playoffs. You'll always remember last year, Philly. And I think the Rams are pretty much going to put your Super Bowl title defense on life support here. So I got the Rams winning this one. I'm going to say 33-20, the Rams over Philadelphia. I don't think it's going to be a 5-star like that game last year. So nothing more to say. MF, you heard the scenarios. You got to consider this somewhat of a lock of the week because the Rams are the biggest favorites of the week. Just about 2 touchdown favorites here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Rams are going to get the job done. There's really nothing more for me to say here. Rams win. Bullock, it's yours.
Bullock led off. So now we move on, gentlemen, to the final game of the week. Monday Night Football on ESPN. A matchup of the New Orleans Saints squaring off against the Carolina Panthers at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Joe Tessitore, Jason Witten, Booger McFarland, Lisa Salters on the call. New Orleans opening up as 6.5 to 7-point favorites. And the series history between these two, it favors, hold on here. It favors the Carolina Panthers 24-22. They met 3 times last year. The Saints won all 3 meetings, the 2 regular season meetings and the playoff game, the wild card game. Saints won in Charlotte last year, 34-13. Carolina last beat them 2 years ago, 23-20 in Charlotte, 2016. So I believe it is I who starts this one off. So here you go. The Saints offense gets most of the attention, but their defense has quietly been playing some of the best football in the NFL over the last 11 weeks. The front 7, led by Cameron Jordan, Sheldon Rankins, and Demario Davis, has helped the D rank 2nd in the league in points allowed over that span, 18 a game. First in run defense, 75.6 yards a game, 2nd in sacks, 35, and tied for 3rd in takeaways, 19. That should keep them competitive, even if the offense starts slow in some outdoor Monday night weather. The numbers suggest the Saints should win, and win big. That the Panthers were 0-3 against Drew Brees and company last season and have lost 5 straight games this season also doesn't bode well. But the Panthers are 5-1 at home and have their backs against the wall in terms of the playoffs. They saw what Dallas did in a primetime win against the Saints a few weeks ago and will use a similar formula. What's at stake? The Saints, who already have won the NFC South, can clinch a first-round bye with a win and a Chicago Bears loss. The Panthers have a chance to put themselves back into the wild card race. They're a half game behind Minnesota for the number 6 spot. New Orleans is a 65.8% favorite. The Panthers need a win to keep their playoff hopes alive. According to FPI, they would have a 16% chance with a win and a 2% chance with a loss. The Saints, meanwhile, have a huge potential swing in their chances at the number 1 seed in the NFC. They would have a 74% chance with a win and a 25% chance with a loss. I got the New Orleans Saints winning this one barely. I think Carolina's going to play them close like they always do. but I think New Orleans will eke it out. I'm going to say 26-20, New Orleans over Carolina. Nothing more to say. MF, you heard the scenarios. New Orleans is gunning for that top spot. They can get one step closer with a win. They would have a 74% chance to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Saints are going to win the game too. There's really nothing more to say. So, Saints win. Bullock, is yours.
Bullock, are you there? Oh boy, I think we might have lost him. I was hoping for Bullock to be there for this final call here. I got New Orleans winning 26-20. I'm sure that MF does. I know MF does too. So maybe he probably just left here. So all right. I guess now we'll get into the power rankings here. So just bear with me for a minute. Now, keep in mind, these rankings date back to last week. Of course, you know, we didn't have a show last week because of commitments beyond the control of MF and Bullock there. So just excuse me 1 minute as a pop-up just came in. So just give me a minute. Okay. All right. So I think we're ready to go here. So yeah, we know the story of okay. All right, so let's get started here. Number 10, Indianapolis Colts. After getting shut out by the Jaguars last week, Andrew Luck got back to his winning ways. They're still alive heading to a big game with the Cowboys this week. Number 9, Houston Texans. Their winning streak is over, but they still control their divisional fate. Time to get back on track. LA Chargers, number 8. It wasn't pretty against the Bengals, but they found a way. Now came the biggest game of the year at Kansas City. We all know how that played out. They're going to move up big time next week. Seattle Seahawks, number 7. Pete Carroll should be in the mix for Coach of the Year. He's done an amazing job this year. Chicago Bears, number 6. Impressive defensive showing against the Rams. Can that unit carry them to a Super Bowl? We'll find out. Dallas Cowboys, number 5. The addition of Amari Cooper via trade is already paying off in a big way. They should go on to win the NFC East. New England Patriots, still number 4. I mean, that was a brutal loss, and they now have to regroup against Pittsburgh on the road. Not going to be easy. We all know that. LA Rams, number 3. They showed the offense could be stopped by a good defense against the Bears. They need to get it revved up again against the Eagles. New Orleans Saints, number 2. Took them some time to get on track against the Bucs, but they had a good second half. They're back as the top seed in the NFC. And number 1, obviously, dating back to last week, was the Kansas City Chiefs. But that's going to change next week, obviously. And going into that game, they were the best team in the league. They had to be careful, and they lost. Who knows? They could end up as a wild card team with that loss to the Chargers last night. So that's really all there is to say on that. So that will put an end to this edition of NFL Friday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. I think we've lost Bullock for the night, and that's fine. We had a big night tonight anyway, so I'll take the shout-outs for a spin. So special shout-out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Special shout-outs to Dede Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family. Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonball, Daniel Lachelle from the UK, our insiders. Our other first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. The other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Alvarez, and Rob Parsons. Our group outing crew, we had an amazing night tonight. It was a great night as always. I'm glad we got to do that. It was great. And, of course, Derek Ferrera, we can't forget about him. He puts it all together. And Some great content on his end. Check it out if you have a moment. Polo Club Soldier 1984. All of our friends from 6, 10, and 12. All of our friends over at ESPN, FS1, NHL Network, NFL Network, MLB Network, NBA TV, State of Sorrel, Lindsey McCormick, our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson, and last but not least, my wonderful friends and church family over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning at 9, Bible study. A little after 10, Sunday service, and other things going on. Wednesday night at 7, Bible study. So looking forward to seeing them as always. It's going to be another wonderful service. We have a guest speaker coming in. It's going to be great. So looking forward to that. So anyways, sometime tomorrow we will have our TLC preview show. Time to be determined. Of course, Sunday night following the event, we'll have our recap over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95. Monday night, we had, for the first time in a long time, we have a huge, ridiculously Raw. Of course, the big announcement was made today that Vince McMahon will be on Raw Monday night. Huge news, to say the very least. He's promised some major shakeups, so I'll believe it when I see them. I'm praying that starting Monday Night Raw will be a much better show that will compete with SmackDown Live every week. That's what I'm hoping for. And my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling as usual. And of course, Tuesday night, Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on Braves Fan 95, SmackDown Live. Huge Mikey's mindset, to say the very least. And then 1 week from tonight, week 16 of NFL Friday. Going to be a great show. Can't wait. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for our TLC preview with myself and Didi Woodson, maybe Bullock, we'll see. Anthony Florio here. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. We'll have a blessed Saturday, rather. And until tomorrow night for the TLC preview, you're watching week 15 of Strictly Sports NFL Friday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one. For now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.